Welcome to the Stop Dieting podcast, hosted by best-selling, award-winning author and renowned weight loss expert, David Medansky. If you struggle to lose weight or you've lost weight and gained it back, you'll want to listen each week. Each week, you will learn tips for healthy weight loss without going on a diet, without having to follow an exercise program, without counting calories, or having to purchase special meals or products. The Stop Dieting podcast is more than just about healthy and sustainable weight loss. You will also learn how you can have more energy, feel better, get rid of brain fog, and improve your overall health. Stay tuned for another informative and insightful episode. And if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe and share this with your friends.
Hi, this is David Medansky. Welcome to another episode of Stop Dieting. Today we have a special guest, Brian Norton. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, David. I appreciate it.
Brian, why don't you give us a little bit of a background on who you are and what you do for the audience?
Yeah, so I'm a business coach. I've been in the industry for about 16 years, helped over 1,500 plus clients, small to medium-sized businesses throughout my career all over North America and Canada. My real passion is really educating business owners on really how easy it is to run their business by some simple numbers and metrics, and so they can gain their life back and start. My saying is, you need to enjoy your life now and stop waiting until you retire to do it. Because, you started a business for a reason and enjoy it.
That's great. I know that we talk about health and wellness on this show. And one of the things I advocate to people is a lot of us will sacrifice our health in pursuit of our businesses and in pursuit of wealth. And then we end up spending our wealth chasing good health.
That's right. It is. And it's you see it a lot with business owners, and you see the stress that they take on their shoulders. And it passes off into their personal life. And a lot of my great clients are very healthy clients that have a very strict exercise regime that they go through every day. So they get their mental clarity a little bit.
What other advice can you give the people about detaching from work and keeping a balance in their life?
I struggled for a lot of years and still kind of do a little bit, but we take our work home with us. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, our minds keep going, and whatever happens at the office, whatever our office could be, it comes home with us. And I try to tell my clients, I go, you got to shut off, and I have to do it too. What can you get done after 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night with the emails that can't wait until in the morning? Because what we're doing is we're prioritizing our business over our personal life. And then it sucks into our personal life, and then our personal life goes into shambles. And then we're not sharp in our business life, and then our business life goes into shambles. And then we just started in this massive spiral downward. And we got to look at it and say, okay, at this time, we owe it to ourselves to shut this off. No more emails, no more text messages, no more any of this time, and really focus on our personal and our well-being.
Yeah, I can understand and relate to that, because I don't know if you're aware, but I'm a former divorce lawyer.
Okay. Yeah.
And I practiced divorce law for 13 years. And the reason I had to stop was I was unable to detach from my clients' issues, and their issues became my issues. And so it kept me up at night, brought their problems home with me to my household. And it just became very unhealthy. I had anxiety, depression, and gained a lot of weight. So that is very helpful to educate business owners on how to avoid doing that.
For myself, I work out on a daily basis, but I have to do it first thing in the morning. That gets me going, my mental focus, whatever. And if there's times that I can't go first thing in the morning, and if I push it towards the day, I can't. My mind is focused on work. It's doing this. It's checking the phone while I'm at the gym. It's an unproductive workout. It is an unproductive day at the office per se. So me personally, I have to do it first thing to get me going throughout the day.
Yeah, I know that one of the benefits I tell people about eating healthy and hydrating properly is that they'll have more energy and better mental clarity so they don't get that brain fog at mid-afternoon. You're
Yeah.
familiar with that.
A lot of it. And, a lot of these guys, a lot of the clients that I take on are fast food junkies, right? So, I mean, they're eating in their car between here and there. They're doing it. It's a very overall an unhealthy balance when you look at it, because they're stressed. It's putting stress, putting all that pressure on your heart, your blood pressure, your anxiety, and then eating bad. I know I'm a sucker for a good French fry or whatever, but
who isn't? I mean, you said they're addicting.
No, what do they say? No good food tastes good, or nothing good for you tastes good.
Yeah, Jack LaLanne, one of my people I admire and model after, he used to have a saying: "If it tastes good, spit it out."
Yeah, yeah, and that's true though, right? I mean, as bad as we don't like it, we still got to eat it and get right, focused on that.
The other thing is, a lot of times we get involved in our work so much. We may be at our desk, or as you said, driving or watching TV. I call it mindless eating, where we're having a sandwich or our lunch while we're working, and you look down and it's gone. It's like, well, where did it go?
Yeah.
You didn't realize how much you ate or how fast you ate it, because you weren't focusing on the food. You were focusing on what you were doing at work.
Right. And I stand up most of the day for work. It helps me think a lot clearer. But to that point it's the mindless eating thing of it is, we have to step away from our job and just, whether it's walk outside, do something, we have to decompress a little bit and just go, okay, now I can get back, because it's just like that mindless TV watching, because you're just not productive if you're stuck in it 8 hours a day. You can just imagine what your burnout rate is around hours 6, 7, and 8. It's just, you're not there. Your clarity's not there.
Oh yeah, exactly. I know that I advocate physical activity for people, not necessarily, have to do physical exercise or a lot of it, or go to the gym and work out. You live in the Denver area and I live in the Phoenix area. So we're both blessed with good weather and being able to get out and do hiking and other activities. What I usually tell people is just walk. I know Rebel Wilson lost 77 pounds in 1 year just by walking an hour each day. And Mindy Callis lost weight. And what she did, instead of walking an hour each day, when she had a break for 10 or 15 minutes, instead of being on social media or texting friends, she would go for a 10 or 15-minute walk. Well, if you do that 4 or 5 times a day, you're getting in, 40, 50, 60 minutes.
That's right.
Movement, and that's all you need.
Right. And, we as a society, and you know this more than I do, but we look for the quick fix. And that's where they go to these fad diets and these fad workouts and these fad things. And, eat right, sleep, and do some exercising in between that, and you have your balanced life. But it's the world of social media, the world of instant gratification is, okay, I can go take this pill and be great. Or I can go do this diet for 6 weeks and it's all gone. Well, what happens when you get back to it? It comes on twice as fast, right?
That's why 90% of people who lose weight on a diet regain it within a year. Some gain even more.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I advocate lifestyle as opposed to a diet, which is temporary, extreme, hard to stick with. A lot are potentially dangerous. You mentioned fad diet. Do you know what fad stands for?
I do not.
I call it fat and desperate.
Okay. Well, that's great. It is true, right?
It is. It is. And you're a veteran, correct?
Yeah, I am. Yes.
And what branch of the service did you serve in?
I was with the Army. I did a stint with the 3rd Ranger Battalion for a few years, and then I was with the 82nd for a few years.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Yeah.
I know that in the military, they have a code of honor. A lot of people don't have a code of honor or have any rules that they abide by. And being in the military, that's very important to follow rules, correct?
That's right. Yeah. Yep. Very true.
And that's what I tell people with nature. If you don't follow nature's rules, there's going to be consequences.
Yeah, and you see it, right? I mean, we're looking at it with the cancerous and all the stuff that's just coming into play. I mean, uh, without getting off on these tangents, healthy people can beat this stuff. It's a lot of it's mindset, but again, it's how healthy you are. And I can tell you this: nobody on their deathbed ever said, "I wish I worked more."
And a lot of times you can't take your money with you. So
Right.
If you're not able to enjoy it, what good is it?
That's right.
I have some women that their husbands just don't want to take care of their bodies and they're concerned. And I said, how much life insurance do you have on them? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, just ask your husband to take out some additional life insurance so that when he goes, you can enjoy it with the next guy.
That's right.
Motivate him.
Yeah. That'll light a fire underneath them.
Some of them find it amusing, and some of them don't like it so much. So.
Well, we're in a world of coddling, and sometimes the hard truth is not what we want to hear, but we need to hear it, and that's really what it is.
Exactly. And as a business owner, if you're not going to do it for yourself, think about your employees. How is it going to affect them if something happens to you or your spouse or your kids? I mean, why are you working so hard to earn extra money? What's important to you? What do you think keeps your clients up at night? What do they fear the most?
Right now is the economy. They're stressed about the shrinking dollar, the shrinking profits. So, they're trying to pull in more money, more revenue, but really what they just have to do is fix their business, fix the operational aspect of their company to make it work correctly so they can step away. And I always tell my clients, I say, if I could take you today and put you on a 6-month vacation, what would happen to your business? And if the business would survive, then they have a good, viable business. If it doesn't survive and they need them, then they don't have a business. So then you can't sell the business because they're part of the business. It won't operate without them. So they are in all the choke point, the bottleneck of the company. So it can't grow. It can't do anything because of them. So, once they see that and realize that, a lot of that stress comes off of their shoulders. But right now it's the stress of, how am I going to pay this? They're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Even though they've got revenue coming in, their profits are really shrinking. And now we're starting to see this cycle of, how do if I get this job, I got to pay for this job back here or do this. And it's kind of almost like a Ponzi scheme they're getting too far out in front of themselves that they're going to be in trouble. And so then that stress comes to their home life and they're going, well, what do it's not their family's fault. It's just the fault that we've lived in such prosperity for the last 12 years. No one ever thought it would happen again. And here we come again.
Yes. And people think that it's expensive to eat healthy when it's actually less expensive to eat healthy and more expensive to eat the fast foods. I don't know if people have been through the drive-through lately. Most of them probably have, but most of the meals I see are $8, $9, $10. What used to be $2 or $3.
Right.
And what I find, it used to be stress was the number one reason for people being overweight. And what I learned from a medical doctor was it's no longer stress, it's convenience.
Yeah.
Because it's easier, as you mentioned, to go through the drive-through at a fast food place. It's easier to order a pizza or have it delivered or pick up a bucket of fried chicken or get the frozen meal and throw it in the microwave. So people aren't taking the time anymore to, number one, go and buy the fresh food and,
right.
produce, and then taking time to prepare it or cook it.
It's just that instant need. So if I can eat, multitasking, and we're the worst. Americans are the worst. We are the worst at it. We are just got to have it now, got to have it now, got to have it now. I'll do it. I'll get to it. And we just need to slow down.
Yeah. I like that you said slow down because Mark David wrote a book called The Slow Down Diet. And in there, he says, if you take 5 minutes for breakfast, give yourself 10. And if you take, lunch or dinner, give yourself at least 30 minutes where you're not doing anything, just eating and focusing on the food. The other thing is a lot of people may not realize our portion sizes have been supersized without realizing it. In Europe, their dinner size plate is still 9 inches. Ours today is 12 inches. Back in the 1900s, when our parents and grandparents were growing up, it was 9 inches in diameter. And if you go to a restaurant, it's anywhere from 13 to 15 inches for a serving platter. So we're getting way, way, way too much food.
Yeah.
Usually what I tell people is when you order a meal, if you're not going to share it with someone, then get a to-go box right away. Put half in it to go and eat the other half. That way you're getting 2 meals for the price of one. So you're saving money. And you're also eating the small portion, which is better for you.
And, I go back to, I'm a military guy, so we had to eat very fast. And that has stuck with me for 40 years now. I mean, it's just crazy, but I have to consciously make myself slow down, eat slower, because it was trained in me just to hurry up and get it down. So yeah, I gotta, and I've noticed that the slower I eat, the fuller I become, and I don't have to eat as much.
Exactly. The other thing people can do is drink more water. And the reason I say that is 75% of the U.S. population is chronically dehydrated.
Yeah.
And there's a direct correlation because 72% of the U.S. adult population is overweight, of which 42% are clinically obese. And a lot of times what happens is we think we're hungry. We're actually thirsty. And people may not realize it, but our bodies are 60 to 70% water, not the soda or diet soda, fruit juices or fruit flavored beverages. So it's important to drink water throughout the day and keep hydrated.
Yeah, I drink, this is 32 ounces. So I drink at least 5 or 6 of those a day.
That's a lot of water.
It is a lot of water.
You're exercising in the morning too.
Yeah. And I do, I'll pound them but I can tell when I don't do it, if I don't have my water intake, I get sluggish and headaches.
Yeah. And that's one of the side effects of not having enough water, which is why people probably have migraines and don't realize that the underlying cause is being severely dehydrated.
That's right.
What is a good way for someone to reach out to you if they want to get some guidance and advice from you?
They can come to my website, which is just nortonresults.com, and contact me that way, or brian@nortonresults.com. Reach out. I do a free assessment for, it's about a 30,000 foot view of each business. But it gives them a good roadmap to see where they go and what they need to get done. And I do that. And it's just a passion of mine is to educate small business owners to understand some of the stuff that these big corporate CEOs and stuff they have. We have the tools down here, but we're just not good at finding the tools and going to it. So if they want to reach out, they can come to my website and just fill out that contact me, and I'll give them a shout.
Do you work with solopreneurs or entrepreneurs as well?
I do. We some of those are just hobbyists still, but they still need to know how to get them to where they want to go. They don't have that education. College doesn't really prepare you to be an entrepreneur. It really prepares you how to take a test and read a textbook and all that stuff. So we put some real world applications into their business so they can understand it. And they know, okay, if you want to go from here to here, this is how you're going to have to do it. Is
there a particular industry or niche that you prefer or limit or exclude?
It's funny to say that. I not really, but I can tell you the hardest one is engineering and engineers. They're very difficult business owners, and they will admit it because they overthink and overanalyze everything. It takes 10 engineers a year to make a decision that a normal person could make in a week. But I have fun with my engineers. They're just very difficult clients. So I try to steer away from them as much as I possibly can. I'll help them as what I can, but I try to steer away from them.
And who's your favorite to work with?
I love, any of the skilled trades, your contractors, plumbers, electricians, those guys, because they kind of grew up in it and they worked for somebody else. They got tired of it, started their own company, and then now they're going, well, I didn't realize I had to know the business side of a business. And those guys are always hungry for knowledge, and they're fun to work with. They really are.
That's terrific. One of the things I was reading recently is that 96 million Americans, about 1 out of 3, are pre-diabetics. And 8 out of 10 of those aren't even aware of it. So as you know, type 2 diabetes is very prevalent for people over 50, which I am. I'm not a type 2 diabetic, fortunately.
Yeah.
They said if you're over age 50, 80% probability you're type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic. And if you're pre-diabetic, what it means is if you do not change your eating habits and lifestyle, in 7 years, you'll be a full-blown type 2 diabetic. Ooh. So that's kind of scary with those things. The other thing I was reading is that 90 million people, or is it? Yeah, the leading cause of death is coronary disease. 90%, but
so that's right. That's coming back up again, huh?
Yes, and it's not really accurate because if you think about it, the underlying cause of coronary disease is what we put into our bodies. And
for sure.
Out there, then you can reduce and avoid the coronaries. A lot of it's preventable, and a lot of it's reversible.
Right. How much of that is stress related?
I would say the majority is stress related. People don't take time, as you mentioned, especially business owners. They bring, as you said, there's problems and issues home with them, and they take it out on their spouse or their kids or their pets if they have it. It's just, and then you lose sleep, and then when you're sleep deprived, you tend to gain weight because in order to lose a pound, you need to reduce your caloric intake by 500 calories for a full day for an entire week. And when you're sleep deprived, research shows that the average person will consume an extra 500 calories, or they'll reach for the energy drink, which has the chemicals and other issues with it. So
the no added sugar and all that stuff that's hidden in those labels of can of death.
Yeah, exactly. You and I are on the same page with that.
I used to be an addict of Monster energy drinks. I would, and it wasn't anything that they did for me. I don't think they were. It was the purple one. I craved that taste so often. I gotta have. It's like a cup of coffee. I don't drink coffee, never have. But I did crave that purple energy Monster drink. It was crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize our food is scientifically engineered to optimize our cravings for fat, salt, sugar, and texture. It's a term called bliss point, and it's a term coined by Howard Moskowitz, who worked for the food industries for over 30 years, and that was his consulting was to make the food addicting. So when they say you're junk food, person,
yeah,
you are a junkie when it comes down to food.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I had to go, I can't do this anymore. It was just because I know it's bad. I know it is. But that was my guilty pleasure.
And in being in business, systems are very important, correct?
Correct.
And so you advocate and you teach people how to create systems for their companies.
Once you get your business running correctly, you could truly run a business, a very good business, on about 20 hours a week. You look at, all these people that idolize these multimillionaires, billionaires. If we think that those billionaires run their company 60, 70 hours a week, we're sadly mistaken. They put systems and processes and controls in place that they don't have to worry about what's going on. They can run their business off a sheet of paper and go, okay, this is good, and we'll pivot to here. And that's why they can do multiple things at times. But as an owner, when we get into it, we think we have to be into it all the time, doing 60 hours a week because that's what we were told. We have to, you got to grind it harder than the other guy. That's not true. If you're grinding it harder than the other guy, something's wrong. I mean, unless you're killing it, you're working way too hard. And if you could take, let's say what would your life be if you could just reduce your work week by 1 hour a day? What would their personal, I mean, it would be astronomical, right? I mean, it would be so much better for their health, their family, their wellness, everything, just 1 hour a day. And imagine taking that and going, okay, I can reduce your working hours by 5 hours a day through the week. Now, what would you do? Well, I could start another company. I could spend it with my family. If you don't want to spend it with your family, you go fishing, go do this. I mean, you have the option to do what you want to do. And most people don't do that.
Well, the other thing is when you have the money, can afford, you can go on travel and take trips.
That's right.
And a lot of people aren't able to get away for 2 or 3 weeks at a time because they have to be either at the business or at a job.
And it's ingrained in their mind that I have to be here or it won't work right. Well, with that mentality, you will always be in your business and you'll never be able to sell it because you are the business and nobody wants to buy you. They want to buy a profitable, well-oiled machine. I read a stat. It was actually this morning that most businesses that sell are about $500,000 and 50% of them are owner financed. So the reason they're owner financed is because one, the owner still has to be there and they want to be there. And if anything happens, they can swoop back in and take over their company. I don't want an owner over my head. And if I sell my company, if I sold it to you, David, it's yours. I don't want to sit here and be a slave to this company of what you're going to do to the company or anybody else that does to the company. I don't. That's not what I want.
Almost like having a ball and chain wrapped around your foot.
That's what it is. And I've seen it too often that we sell the businesses and there's a clause in there. Well, the owner has to be here for 3 years to do the transition and make sure it doesn't fall apart. Well, now you went from an owner to an employee. And now you have to listen to this guy. And so it just doesn't work. I mean, you gotta let go. You have to let go of a business. And, the reason we hire people is to do those jobs and we've got to do it.
Are you familiar with the term ikigai?
Not right off the top of my head.
It's a Japanese word and it means life purpose. It's a book written about ikigai, and I think it's important for people because in Japan, especially in Okinawa, they have a lot of longevity with good health, and they don't have a term or word for retirement because people don't retire there. They be physically or mentally active, up until the day they die. And I find that when people, my peers, because I'm 67, are no longer working, they retire.
Yeah.
They start declining because they don't have they don't know what to do with themselves. It's like, I've been working in this business or I've been running this business my entire life. Now what am I going to do? They don't have a hobby or outside interest. Do you help your clients get outside interest?
We do because it's, I've seen it to where, the client sits there and he goes, I can't retire. I'll die. And I'm going to die in this chair or whatever they say, because they don't have the outside hobbies. And, a lot of people, when they do retire, they're so used, 40 years into a business or 30 years into a business. And now they don't have that anymore to get up to. They have their spouse to look at and the spouse is going, wait, I didn't sign up for this. What just happened? So, then they have a whole new relationship with their significant other or whatever that is, because now they don't have this external factor. So now they got to learn how to become a couple or whatever it is again. And then they need, we're so used to coupling up and I've got my life from here to here. And then, you spend more time at work than you do with your partners or your families. So you take that aspect away and you go here. So we all need our alone time or our downtime for ourselves. We just have to channel that into a hobby. Now, I like to take a lot of these guys and put them into speaking engagements, mentorships for some of these young people. So their brains are still active, and they feel like they're still giving back to the community and still being relevant.
Sharing their knowledge too.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, it's funny because you can take, your baby boomers that are up here now, and then you could take your millennials or whatever they're called down here. And, these younger generations teaching the older generation all this tech stuff, but the older generation is now teaching these young kids how to personally communicate in business, and patience, that they don't have.
Yeah, that's one of the factors about weight loss is they see the national brands advertising lose, 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds your first month guaranteed. And most of those, you could lose the weight that much, depending on where your starting point is. However, number one, it's not healthy. And number two, it's not sustainable. So usually what I ask people is, would you like to weigh 24 to 48 pounds lighter by this time next year? And most people who need to lose weight say, well, yeah, of course. Okay, can you lose 2, 3, 4 pounds a month? Not a week, a month. And for most people, that's very doable.
Right.
And if you do it on average for 12 consecutive months, because some months you'll have some more weight loss and some you'll have no weight loss.
Right.
After a year, you're down 24 to 48 pounds. The problem, as you mentioned today, is people are very impatient. They want it now. They want the magic pill, and they don't want to put the time and effort into it. And that's very similar to growing a business. You have to be patient. You just don't go out there and say, here I am, and expect to have all these clients or selling all this product without laying the foundation and putting the time and effort in.
And, here's something I learned about a month ago, and I should have known this, but I didn't. But the fitness ads are actually, the before and afters are actually reversed for the after and before. So the guy that's all cut or the girl that's all cut is before, and then the after is really, they just bloat them up and make them bigger for the after. So it's actually a reverse of what the before and after is. So the before is actually the after, and the after is actually the before, which is crazy.
It is. I know that I was at a health expo before COVID, and I won't mention the name of the company. There was a lady promoting it, and she had her before and after pictures. And I said, are you telling me if I take this product that I can get a body like that? And she goes, no. I said, no. She goes, no, that's 3 to 4 hours every day in the gym to get a body like what I have. I said, well, isn't that kind of misleading? Because you're implying that if you just take this product, you're going to have all these muscles and look great.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, that's the idea. I thought,
right.
Okay. There's a little lack of integrity there. So
Yeah. Actually, it was an expert I follow a guy on YouTube, and he was going the ins and outs about the fitness industry and some of the secrets. And that's one of the secrets was the before picture is actually the after, or the after picture is the before picture. It's reversed. So they get these guys that are muscle bound cut. That's the after picture, and then they bloat them up and get them all big for the before picture.
It's almost like from the movie Super Size Me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's a lot of bait and switch out there,
Yeah, exactly. Well,
but as humans, we look for the quickest, fastest way to our destination and our goal. And in this time, in this is it's slow and steady wins the race, and you'll be here forever. And it's just, subtle. It's just like your diet, just subtle little changes. 500 calories a day isn't much. If you think it's really not that bad if you really thought about it. Because I tell my clients, I go, what I want you to do is every day for a month, you write down what you spend your money on, right? Every day for a month. And it's if you stop at the gas station and get gas, get a candy bar or whatever it is, I want you to, we're going to document this. And then it's the same thing as in the diet where you would go. It's like everything you eat for a month, I don't care what it is, just put it down there and say, this is how easy it is if you just cut this stuff out.
Well, I go a little bit further, as you mentioned, write it down. I also ask when they are doing it and what they're doing to delve into some of the underlying issues. A lot of people, I call the 9 golden rules of weight loss for people who love to eat. And when they look at the 9 rules, they're like, well, I know that. I said, I understand you know that. Are you doing it?
Yeah.
No. And then the question is, well, why not? Because we all know what to do. We just don't do it.
That's right. It's so funny because I tell my clients, I go, it's like, I used to say this all the time. Why do people fail at diets? Why do they fail? And I said, because, when it's time to go weigh in, they have to go step on that scale, and that scale doesn't lie to them. Right. So they're going to go step on that scale. The reason they don't step on that scale is because they don't want to see what that number is, because they know in their mind they failed themselves. And as soon as they step on that scale, that number is going to permanently remind them and say, I failed. And it's going to be depressing. So they just stop doing it and they stop stepping on the scale. And that's the way it is in business, is if you stop managing stuff and not stepping on the scale, then you're going to be in utter chaos.
Well, that and the way you measure things, because I tell people don't go by the number on the scale. What happens is during New Year's resolutions, first of the year, people start exercising more, eating healthier. And after 3 weeks, they get on the scale and they realize they haven't lost any weight. And they're like, well, what's going on? I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. And I had that happen with a client of mine. After 3 weeks of doing everything, I finally asked him, I said, are you exercising more? He goes, yeah, I'm walking 5 miles a day. I'm riding my bike. I'm doing that. I said, how do your clothes fit? He goes, oh, they're loose. And in fact, people are asking me if I'm losing weight. However, I'm not. I said, don't go by the scale, because what's happening is you're replacing the fat with muscle, and 5 pounds of fat weighs the exact same as 5 pounds of muscle. 5 pounds is 5 pounds. The difference being the muscle takes up a lot less room because it's denser. So you're getting thinner. So I tell people, go by how your clothes fit and how you feel, because you'll have more energy. And that's where people get frustrated, because they're looking at the wrong metric. They're looking at the number on the scale instead of, their clothes size, their waistline, their energy level. And as you said, you have to give it time. So they have to, do it for at least, 30, 40, 50 days or longer. And then they'll start seeing the noticeable results. And that's what happened with him. A couple weeks later, the scale did start dropping, and he was getting the results he wanted.
Yeah. Oh, the first of the year is always a great time, right? I dread going to the gym then.
Yeah, exactly. Was there a person or a book that influenced you that you could share with the audience?
I try. There's so many books. I try to read 50 books a year. That's my goal. I've got so many of them, because I go from all walks of the end of it. Personally, I would have to say my late father-in-law, he just, he goes, it's not ever going to get done for you. You got to do it yourself. And if you continue to, he goes, if you continue to look for the easy way, you'll always be the victim. And so that's really kind of stuck with me a lot, because when you think about this, with what we see in today is so much negativity, and we can get wrapped into that. And we go, oh, poor me. It's always happening to me. It's always me. But it's really, our thoughts are truly, when we say it, we think it, we actually do it. So if we can just reverse a little bit of that and go from I can, we will,
Yeah. I know that in doing research for the books that I've written, I learned that 80% of our thoughts are negative. So imagine if we changed and made it 80% positive. The other thing, Les Brown has a quote where, and I'm paraphrasing, if you do what's easy, life will be hard. If you do what's hard, life will be easy.
And he has so many great little tidbits of stuff, and he's right. It is just, we make it harder on ourselves. And what do we have? Over 10,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of those are negative. Then think about what that does to, this whole, everybody as society, and you go, just change it from, and I do a lot on my LinkedIn, and I post, I go, just change that one negative one negative a day to spin it to a positive. Just mentally think about that and watch the difference of life that'll do for you.
Exactly. And as you mentioned earlier, about 500 calories, reducing 500 calories a day. You don't even have to worry about calories. Just make one little change. And when you master that, maybe you're not drinking water, you're drinking soda or diet soda, switch to drinking the water instead. Or if you're drinking 2 or 3 energy drinks a day, reduce it to maybe 1.5, and then eventually get off of it. So there's little things that people can do in increments to start improving. So it's not worrying about counting calories per se.
Right.
And that's one of the myths out there is, exercise more and eat less. The problem is not all foods are created equal. And so a Hershey bar is about 125 calories, no nutritional value. An apple is about 90 to 100 calories, has a lot of nutritional value, and it takes your body 25 calories to digest and process it. So it's a net of, about 75 calories.
Yeah.
So that's the difference I tell people is be careful where you're getting your calories from. And our bodies are incredible machines. So if we put the right fuel into it, it'll last longer. Some people I know take better care of their automobiles than they do of their own bodies.
And, I say that all the time. I go, how often do you go to the dentist? How often do you go to the doctor? How often do you go get your oil changed? How often do you do this? And they go, oh yeah, once a year, do this every 3,000 miles. I go, when was the last time you looked at your business and the health of your business? I never have. I go, oh, that's your biggest asset outside of your body and your life. I go, so you don't ever check that out, huh? You just take it for granted.
Yeah, that's a great tip that people should have at least a 6-month review, if not an annual review. Like they go for an annual checkup on themselves, they should go for an annual checkup on their business and see.
That's right. That's right. It's the old saying is whether you can or can't, you're right.
Yeah. And, reach out to you, Brian. The audience should reach out to you to get some guidance and look, because a lot of times it's like going to a doctor, you don't know what you're looking for. And
that's right.
You can show them as, going to a doctor and telling him to fix a broken bone without looking at an x-ray. So at least you can show them, here's an x-ray of your business and here's why you need to make certain adjustments or certain corrections.
Right. You go back and it coincides with you. Is like if your business is healthy, or you have less stress in your business, you have less stress in your personal life, and you can be a healthier person, not have the stress. You don't have to worry about all this stuff. Your family, your friends, everybody, you're going to be more happy to be around and personal. And you're just going to be a better person overall if you get rid of some of that stress that's weighing you down.
Yeah. And one quote I just learned recently is a person with their health has 1,000 dreams. A person without their health has but one.
Yeah.
Have good health.
Right. And again, you go back to that deathbed thing. I tell them, nobody on their deathbed said, I wish I would have worked more.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you go, right. You shouldn't have.
Yeah. Well, that's been great. Now, why don't you tell the audience again how they can reach you?
Sure. Just go to my website. It's nortonresults.com or Brian, Brian at nortonresults.com. I'm happy to answer any questions anytime. I'm very passionate about educating business owners. That's really what it is.
And you're on LinkedIn also, correct?
I'm on LinkedIn. Yep.
So they can find you there too.
They can. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brian. This has been a delight having you as a guest. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us.
Hey, David, I appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, thank you. And this was really fun. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Stop Dieting podcast. Remember to like and subscribe so you won't miss a single episode to get more healthy eating and lifestyle tips. Motivate and inspire others to be healthy by sharing with your friends.